for England and Wales. These western coasts likely to start with some mist and low cloud, and that may take a while to shift because the winds are so light, but certainly many inland areas having a lot of sunshine tomorrow, and it will be hot sunshine as well. Temperatures higher. Today's values likely to get over 30 degrees somewhere across the southeast and many places into the mid-20s at least, and it's starting to turn warmer still across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. Friday's a similar story. The threat of thicker cloud and drizzle at times over the northern and the western Isles, threat of some mist and low cloud around coasts, Irish Sea coast, perhaps North Sea coast too, but for most it's hot and sunny on Friday, and temperatures ticking up even further, more widely up into the high 20s, and a few more places likely to exceed 30 degrees. May well get hotter for the weekend.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
On Patrick Christys tonight, late edition, the first of tomorrow's front pages. There's been a huge defection. Sir Jake Berry, former Tory party chairman, has switched to Reform. The Sun have got that story. They've also got the lowdown on Starmer's latest migrant deal with the French. Not really a deal. It looks like we're going to send 50 blokes back a week, which is less than one migrant boat. Proof work doesn't pay. That's a big one. You will earn £2.5 grand a year or not earn, receive £2.5 grand a year more on benefits than if you get off your arse and work. All that and much more coming your way. Stay tuned.
We're kick-starting summer with your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date, as there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? A brand new car, the holiday of a lifetime, or just sit back, relax and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, breaking right now.
The old parties do not have what it takes to transform our country, to build a Britain we can believe in again. And that's why I've decided to join the Reform Party.
The Sun's Harry Cole got the scoop. Sir Jake Berry, the former chairman of the Tory party, has just defected to Reform. How big a blow is that? Meanwhile, Benefits Britain, get a load of this. Benefits pay more than being in work. Not just a little bit more than being in work, around £2,500 a year. In fact, a new report reveals that the majority of the country would earn more from being on benefits than going to work. Shocking. Meanwhile...
Are you feeling well? Are you feeling energised and healthy? Because if you're like me and you're over 50, the chances are you have put a huge amount of effort into your job.
Gregg Wallace has found himself a new job within 24 hours of being sacked by the BBC. But what is it? Plus...
The run-up to the 1000th anniversary of the birth of William the Conqueror. France will loan the United Kingdom the Bayeux Tapestry.
I can reveal exclusively what is on this brand new, never-seen-before addition to the Bayeux Tapestry. We've had to blur it out for you now. It's all blurred on the screens there. But very shortly, I'll reveal what is on this Bayeux Tapestry. Plus... Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a super migrant. Yes, we'll be debating whether Superman really is an immigrant. Joining me to pick through a bumper rendition of tomorrow's newspapers, it is former Conservative Party MP Jonathan Gullis. We've also got Simon Evans, GBNews contributor and comedian, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. But first, let's get those headlines with Katie Bowe.
Patrick, thank you and good evening. Your latest news headlines from the GB newsroom. The small boats crisis is a quote, shared priority that requires shared solutions. Sir Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron agreed as they met earlier today. Reports are growing tonight surrounding a one-in, one-out migrant deal. The Prime Minister is hoping to confirm a deal to send small boat migrants back to the continent in exchange for the UK accepting asylum seekers in Europe who have a British link. The Times newspaper is reporting tonight that a trial of that one-in, one-out scheme could be unveiled tomorrow, with a trial deporting 1 in 17 of those who cross the Channel to be announced. Also today, Sir Keir Starmer says we are now entering a new era of world history. That's as he joined the French president at the British Museum to mark France loaning the Bayeux Tapestry to the UK. As part of the announcement, the Sutton Hoo artefacts will be loaned to France in a cultural exchange next year. The Southport inquiry heard impact statements from the families of 4 girls who survived the attacks today. The mother of one of the girls said that her daughter fought like hell to save herself and others despite being severely injured. The testimony was heard at Liverpool Town Hall after inquiry chairman Sir Adrian Fulford began proceedings yesterday. The inquiry has now been adjourned and is set to begin again on the 8th of September, where it's expected to hear evidence about the circumstances of the attack and Axel Rudikabana's contact with various agencies. A police officer has denied he lost control in the aftermath of being allegedly assaulted by 2 brothers at Manchester Airport. The trials of Mohammed Fahir Amaz and Mohammed Ahmed continue at Liverpool Crown Court. Both deny the allegations. Our reporter Jack Carson was in court today for proceedings.
The cross-examination of PC Zachary Marsden continued at Liverpool Crown Court today as the defence questioned his actions on the day of the alleged assaults. We saw CCTV footage in court and mobile phone footage that was shown in court and shown to the jury, appearing to show PC Marsden with his knee on the back of Mr. Amaz and also on the head and neck area of Mr. Ahmad. The defence put to PC Marsden today that he had not been honest with the jury or acted with integrity that day, saying he abused his position as a firearms officer using unnecessary, disproportionate and unreasonable force. They were claims that PC Marsden denied. We also heard today in court about how he feared for his own security. The trial here continues.
And former Conservative Party chairman Sir Jake Berry has defected to Reform UK. In a video posted to X, Mr Berry said that only Reform and Nigel Farage can deliver a Britain that we are proud of, saying that the current system is broken. The defection is the second this week after former Cabinet Minister David Jones also joined Mr Farage's party. Those are your latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome along. Let's rattle through these front pages. They are Thursday's front pages. The Independent first. West Streeting, doctors strike for 29% rise risks breaking the NHS. He says that the junior doctors will never be forgiven if they strike. The Daily Telegraph, two great stories in the Telegraph here. Benefits pay more than being in work. $2.5 grand a year better off if you're on benefits than some people on minimum wage. In fact, 50% of the British population will be on less money if they work than if they stayed at home and were on benefits. The second story on the Telegraph is Attorney General gives himself veto over government policy. Unelected, Keir Starmer's best mate, very fruity track record as a human rights lawyer, and bingo, he apparently has a veto on government policy. Concerning stuff. Let's go next to the Daily Express. Fury at junior doctors' strike. Then we go to the Eye. Labour will target the rich but won't call it a wealth tax, says Minister. No one will see through that, Prime Minister. No one will see through that. The Sun have gone for kicking the goals. 40,000 illegal migrants have arrived in a year. France, apparently Sir Keir Starmer's whopping great big migrant deal with Emmanuel Macron, rolled out the red carpet, did everything for him. France is going to take back just 50 illegal migrants a week. Now, they use a picture there of a migrant boat with, I would suggest, roughly speaking, about 50 blokes on it. So we're going to send back that boat every week. Brilliant stuff. What about all the others? Their other story is their big scoop. Harry Cole, I think he's editor-at-large now, is he? Anyway, but Harry Cole... oh, no, he's a very nice guy. Also, anyway.
Can you be?
Ex-story chief.
Girls.
Sorry, Harry, if you're watching. I didn't see that one coming. Anyway, former Tory party chairman Sir Jake Berry has last night defected to Reform. That's the scoop. The Mirror, astonishing bravery of Southport children. Parents hail survivors who faced knifemen alone. Really, stories of bravery, but also deep trauma from the Southport attack. The Guardian, Anglo-French migration deal hangs in the balance, possibly because it's rubbish, and they've also got Labour MPs calling on the Prime Minister to tackle the cost of living crisis. They could have done that themselves. The Daily Mail, proof that work doesn't pay under Labour. Sickness benefits are worth £2,500 a year more. The Times, 50 migrants a week will be sent back to France. And that big picture there of Keir Starmer. Who's that woman next to him? You never see her. Who is she? Oh, it's his wife. She's there. Emmanuel Macron. And who's that now? That's his wife as well. And they were shaking hands outside Downing Street. And anyway, 50 people a year. Right, first things first. This big news this evening is the benefits scandal that we've got. I mean, it's just astonishing. So, Jonathan, I'll start with you on this. £2.5 grand a year more if you're on benefits than if you're on minimum wage. And 50% of the British working population are going to be on less money than people on benefits.
Well, I think it's an excellent piece of work by the Centre for Social Justice, yet again, when it comes to actually talking about the very need for the reform of the system, which parties of all colours have long dodged. Now, the Centre for Social Justice put out in advance of Sir Keir Starmer's initial vote on the legislation was actually, you could save £8 billion a year by taking people off the benefits who have mild anxiety, depression and ADHD, invest £1 billion of that savings into more talking therapies, which would actually be a 44% boost in what's currently available within the NHS, and therefore provide better support longer term, whilst also saving the taxpayer a load of money. The fact that the CSJ has found, for example, a jobless single parent claiming for anxiety and for a child in that household also with ADHD would receive nearly £37,000 a year, £14,000 more than a worker on the national.
And I bet you they get a mobility vehicle as well. Yes. I bet you they get a mobility vehicle as well. Simon, what's the point of going out and working
Well, you meet people, you know. Possibly your future wife.
Yeah.
You can you get a bit of fresh air, you know, change of scene.
Get your steps up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously this is disastrous. If this plays into the we knew Labour were going to be bad, but we had no idea quite how bad narrative, which is building momentum lately. I am possibly, you know, functionally innumerate on this. I am a little bit puzzled how half the country can be earning less than the minimum wage. That seems to me a dysfunctional
No, I think it's just the fact
well.
that so it's just the fact that you can earn so much more than that on benefits.
Yeah. OK, I see. More than the original amount. I mean, obviously, the problem with it, as Jonathan has indicated, is not when you say benefits, it sounds a little bit like what I would have, you know, called the dole back in the 80s or what income support. It goes through various iterations. We're talking about the PIP. We're talking about the enormous onslaught of a spectrum of disorders, some of which absolutely do, you know, guarantee that a person deserves some degree of support. And at the other end, yes, you know, you're feeling a bit sad or whatever, or a bit confused or anxious. You know, I can't remember how many emotions I've cycled through in the last 24 hours, you know, but I'm sure some of them, if I could have just for that hour have been
coming out.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, I mean, this has obviously got to be dealt with. I do think Jonathan is right in the sense that we absolutely need to get people talking to therapists and so on and overcoming these issues. And interestingly, of course, ChatGPT, if not Grok in its latest iteration, is offering an awful lot of potential, you know, very much more affordable support for that. There's also these various like tailored, bespoke therapeutic chatbots, which will make that a much cheaper.
Although I do believe that at some point last night, Grok started referring to itself as Hitler, which would imply that maybe they've not ironed out all the creases in AI.
What I like about that is it's put GBNews closer to the centre of the discourse. You know?
No, the social contract has gone. We're going to get a budget that is going to have to clobber people at some point in the autumn, and here we are. You can sit on your backside and earn more than I think it's about 40% of the British population will earn less by going to work than they will if they just didn't bother.
Well, you know, if you expected me to disagree with any of you on this, you're sadly wrong. I have been working for 59 years and paying tax, and I still do.
Yeah. And since you were a 3-year-old.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Thank
wish
you.
I'd done that.
Come on,
Patrick.
Well done.
Sorry.
Well done. But the point is, you know, you cannot blame Keir Starmer. You can blame Keir Starmer for backing down to the idiotic young, you know, recruits, Labour MPs who haven't foreseen the consequences. This is a system that has been cranked up over the years under a Conservative government. It's not that Labour are giving them the people who are claiming benefits anymore. He was trying to reduce what they were getting, but they were already getting this under the Conservatives. So it is completely hypocritical to blame Keir Starmer and the Labour government. So they weren't getting these benefits under the Conservatives.
No. So number one, I'm not defending the Conservative government at all on this in regard.
Good.
And actually, the biggest problem was in COVID lockdown, we really relaxed the rules and didn't at any stage strengthen them post the pandemic, which meant that obviously we see the appalling situation we're in now. What I'm disappointed with what Sir Keir Starmer did wasn't genuine reform. The £5 billion initially meant to be saved was all about just making sure that Rachel Reeves' spending review added up. It wasn't about serious, genuine reform.
Well, the thing is, it was an attempt, which at least with your government...
What do we do about it? We can argue about how we got here. By the way, I think one of the main reasons we got here was lockdown, because clearly this has kicked on since lockdown. But what do we do about it now?
First of all, you have to have face-to-face assessments again. This all went to pot during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
But people can tick boxes and
assessors themselves have said so, right?
Absolutely, it's crazy. So you need to get back to face-to-face assessments. The fact that 1 million young people between the ages of 16 and 24 are not...
But the Labour Party has spent the last 14 or even 16 years on the side of all of these people, and now they're going to have to try and get them off the backside.
And you're going to have to grapple with the fact that ADHD, for instance, is so eminently fakeable.
Yes.
It's so easy, the diagnosis, and I can tell you this from personal experience, extraordinarily gameable. The idea that a parent with anxiety and a child with ADHD... I know a lot of people. The comedy game is full of people who are now claiming, because basically you get access to medically prescribed speed.
Yeah.
You know, there's for adult ADHD, there's those benefits, but for kids as well, you get a classroom to yourself, you get use of a laptop. They're all, and it's a gameable system. Where there is this kind of benefit, you will not be able to staunch the flow.
Well, let's talk about another story. It's not, well, it is on the front page of the Sun, and this is that Sir Jake Berry, the former chairman of the Tory party, has defected to Reform. It's at the top of that story, some front page there. Harry Cole has gone and got it. We've got a short clip of Jake Berry.
The old parties do not have what it takes to transform our country, to build a Britain we can believe in again. And that's why I've decided to join the Reform Party.
Well, Jonathan, former chairman, he clearly doesn't think that Kevin Badenoch's got what it takes. He clearly didn't inform the Tories before he did it. It's quite a damning indictment of where he sees the Conservative Party. Is it not a bit embarrassing?
Look, I said it earlier on, and I stick by it. The problem is, having been out on the doors in those local elections, that there was no message about what is conservatism in 2025. What does it actually mean? What does it stand for? And for the first time in my life, as adult life, as a party member, 18 years, I have no answer to that question. That's something I've been grappling with, because essentially, no matter what Kemi wants to do on policy, unless you can answer that central tenet,
do you think
everything else comes from it. So I think that there is a huge problem here that Kemi needs to quickly answer that and get that message out in the country. And the cabinet ministers, or shadow cabinet, should I say, sorry, need to work much harder than they currently are.
Would you?
They're letting Robert Jenrick basically doing all the heavy lifting.
Well, he is. I mean, he was even on the show tonight, bless him. But, I mean, you know, look, I'm not trying to be too much for so-and-so towards you, but, I mean, look, are you going to go into Reform, do you think?
I've been a member of the Conservative Party for 18 years. I've fought really hard for conservatism. Look, there's certainly things that Reform are saying that I'm very empathetic with in terms of their vision and values. Things like, for example, protecting British steel because we need to have critical infrastructure in our country, wanting to make sure that we do have a more interventionist state, as we saw partly with levelling up under Boris Johnson, where that help is needed, but at the same time, massively deregulating the country. But there's a hell of a lot of work Reform needs to do, in my opinion, to be credible and serious. And that is having, as Robert pointed out on your earlier show, having detailed policies that are based in actually being able to be delivered. And I think that is where Reform is... And
are costed. It's all pie in the sky.
And that is where Reform is lacking. And I think for the Conservative Party, there is an opportunity, if they can get the run on that and get ahead of it. And as we heard, the New Statesman, Nigel Farage himself, thinks he's about to be outflanked on the right by Robert Jenrick, who wants to detain and deport illegal migrants and deport foreign national defenders.
Robert Jenrick will say whatever he thinks is going to, A, get him publicity, and B, move him further towards...
Do you not think there's a chance he might just mean it, Nina? Well, you don't like... Does it be on the realms of possibility that maybe there's a man there who sits there and says what he actually thinks?
Listen, he is a very, very canny politician, and that does not square with me to somebody who has very strong... steadfast political opinion.
You do realise this is the overwhelming consensus on Keir Starmer, and has been for a number of years, that he'll say whatever it takes to get him to... And it did.
I don't vote for Keir Starmer, so I don't care.
No, but you would accept that criticism of him then?
Well, he has changed his mind, but in a way, he is... Look, Farage is the consummate politician and communicator. Keir Starmer cannot communicate at all. But he has been...
But Robert Jenrick we're talking about, right?
No.
You were saying... I thought you were saying Robert Jenrick will say or do whatever it takes to get to the top.
I do say that. Yes, I do say that.
Just quickly on the actual defection of Sir Jake Berry. I mean, we're going to keep saying these things, aren't we? Is this a big deal, former chairman of the Tory party going to Reform?
It's less of a big deal than it would be if he was an MP, right? He lost his seat, you know, and he had a fairly, you know, decent run of various ministerial positions, and then he resigned, I think, in 2020 when he wasn't happy with where he was going. But, yeah, once you're out of Parliament, it's not that big a deal, to be honest. I mean, I think...
What? You don't matter anymore, don't you?
To carve out a media career? No,
I suspect...
But don't you think it's just another rat deserting the sinking ship?
Well, he's probably a rat that's seen another ladder that he can get back onto a ship. He's been in the water for some time.
I will just say, I do believe if the Conservative Party don't get that act together, and what we expect to happen next May in the devolved and local elections, there will be no Conservative Party left to revive.
OK, we've got to go. We've got to go. Sorry. We're way over. Coming up, some breaking news from Emmanuel Macron's speech at the Guildhall State Banquet. Is that right? Must have been... OK, fair enough. Apparently we've got some breaking news about Emmanuel Macron's been talking again. Plus... super migrants. Next.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Sally first. How can this be good?
I'm not sure if it's good, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I would defend everyone's choice to, if they can afford it, send their child to whatever care facility that they choose. And I think when you're talking about very young preschool children, there's an awful lot of life ahead of them where, you know, they can learn that life isn't always going to shower you with rose petals and tasting menus. If it suits the parents, if it suits the child, why not? And we are talking about a very small sector of society who, A, can afford this sort of option with your preschool childcare, and it's for a very short time. So there's obviously a market for it. They've come all the way over from Singapore to set this up. It's their first outpost in the UK. So, yeah, good luck. If there's a gap in the market, fill it.
I know I'm a mother of 4 and I've got my own business, and even when we sit down for tea at night, I'm still on my phone, I'm still emailing. So for me, it's kind of like, I'm wondering if these parents are working 24/7 and they're trying to offset the guilt because they're really time poor with the kids. I mean, I've got 4 boys and I do think I naturally pamper them because I don't know about you, Stephen, but when I was growing up, I was constantly told I didn't even know I was born, whatever that means. And so it's like, I think each generation we pamper our kids even more, you know?
But Davinia, when you're sitting down with your kids having dinner, are you giving them a crisp golden spanakopita with refreshing tzatziki, followed by smoky jambalaya studded with free-range chicken and prawns? Or are they getting beans on toast?
Funnily enough, Stephen, that's a no.
GB News, the People's Channel.
The 12th, a day to celebrate history, community and family here in Northern Ireland. Join me, Arlene Foster.
And me, Dougie Beattie, as we bring you live coverage of the July 12th celebrations.
Right across the United Kingdom. It's all happening here on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, I've got some breaking news for you now. It won't be on the front pages because it's literally just happened. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, has been speaking at the Guildhall State Banquet, and he has made a fresh bid for Britain to rejoin the European Union.
And now, after all the turbulences on global economy, from one side because of the overcapacities and over-subsidies from China, on the other side because of this trade war launched by the United States, what is the best solution for all of us? I'm very respectful for the voice of people and the choice your country made a few years ago, 9 years ago. And I'm lucid about the solemnity of the state visit being the first one of a European head of state post-Brexit. But I have to say, the European Union was stronger with you, and you were stronger with the European Union.
OK, so that received a massive round of applause. Now, we can't see in that clip who was applauding, but it's worth noting that the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh there, the City of London Corporation and the Lord Mayor of London, and a load of people there. Emmanuel Macron coming over to our country, speaking mostly in French while he was stood next to the king, who actually bothered to speak French to him in return last night, saying that we need to recognise the state of Palestine, mugging us off with the migrant deal, and then coming out and saying that, essentially issuing another plea for us to join the European Union. He said there, Simon, the quote was, Britain was stronger within the European Union was stronger with Britain. Now, where does this guy get off?
Oh, you feel wounded. I don't blame him. I'm not surprised. I think that's pretty on brand for him, and he's speaking on behalf of France and the European Union. I think it's actually quite flattering that he acknowledges, as I think is true, the European Union was stronger with us in it. Whether or not we're better off out of it is another question. I don't think it's delivered on all the promises that it was intended to, and I personally didn't vote for it either. But I just, I always felt that the people who had done deserved to see it, performed. But I'm not at all surprised he said that, to be honest. And I do think that there's been an enormous amount of upheaval and turbulence on world affairs ever since, and the degree to which a strong and vital European Union might very well be a bloc against China and America. Sadly, that isn't what we have.
Well, Jonathan, what's your views on this? Are we looking at a jumped-up, pompous little Napoleon there?
Yes. It's exhausting, Monsieur Macron, coming to moralise the world once again and moralising the United Kingdom. I mean, look...
He's not moralising. He's not moralising.
Rather than have him come over and lecture us about Palestine and lecture us about rejoining the European Union, I'd rather him stop mugging us off by having robbed us of 800 million quid to not stop a boat, apart from getting one video clip of the bomb being punctured for the sake of his state visit.
Which the BBC
were amazingly at that time. And then has the audacity to basically say, we'll take one boatload of 50 blokes who've come over your country illegally. In return, we're going to make you keep 17. So 95% of the buggers who come over by small boat are staying in this country, going to be benefiting off the state by living in fancy hotels or social rented housing and making sure that they work in the illegal black trade, as Patrick's pointed out, with Deliveroo and Just Eat, rather than actually taking back these migrants that shouldn't be there in the first place and working with countries like Italy to stop them even getting across the Mediterranean.
I think it's quite a good advert for Brexit, isn't it? Emmanuel Macron turning up, telling us that he thinks we should rejoin. It's like the Obama moment, back of the queue again.
I couldn't hear him very well, but I think he was being quite respectful. He said, look, I respect that there was a vote and it's democratic. I applaud him, because the people who were really thrilled to see Brexit, Putin was one, because he wants, a Europe that's not strong. This is this thing. I've never marched for anything in my life, but I marched 3 times for a second vote for Brexit. And in fact, I am not alone in thinking, because over 50% of this population have now got buyer's remorse. It's cost us all a shed load of money.
But that was because, with respect, Nina, that's because we had people like you trying to implement it. If we'd have actually just gone for Brexiteers... people who didn't believe in it. There's no point saying, there's no point putting someone who doesn't believe in something
that is true, that
in charge of something.
The catastrophe was that the Parliament was way to the left of the whole of the rest of the country. It was way to the left of the commentariat, the way to the left of the electorate. The Parliament absolutely did, like across the board, they didn't want to see it.
Wouldn't run a business
so it was totally dysfunctional.
But Simon, the public now don't want it. The majority of people, if there was a vote today, the majority of people, all the polls
I wouldn't be sure about that, Nina. I'd be confident Leave would still win.
No.
It's like people saying, well, just hear me out on this, because it would be like people saying... No, not in denial, because it's ridiculous. It's like people saying, right, I want to go and live in this house over here, and then you're giving them that house over there, but pouring faeces through their letterbox every single day, and then eventually you'll take an opinion poll and they go, actually, I'd like to go back to where I was before, because this place stinks. That's what's happened.
How should Brexit have been done then? Well,
we should have gone absolutely full Tonto.
To do what?
Full Tonto. Singapore on Thames.
But give me an example that I can understand.
Well, so what we should have done, so number one, what we should have done is not trigger Article 50 immediately. There was no need to have to trigger Article 50. What we should have done is spent 2 years properly preparing for no deal, then triggering Article 50 and saying, if we do not get a decent deal, we have all the infrastructure ready to go to leave, which would have meant that we'd have had a stronger hand in negotiation. But Theresa May is so treacherous and treasonous when it comes to Brexit.
Well, to be fair, David Cameron was the first treacherous one, resigning the day afterwards. He had no plan whatsoever on what to do, and what was obviously a 50-50 vote.
David Cameron was a ham-faced coward. He walked away. Instead of making something out of it, that ham-faced git sat in his shed later.
all right.
And then he'd be going to Greensill. He's into making money.
All right. Well, firstly,
You haven't got a decent one amongst...
I don't know what I have to say now. I think, like, say, David
Macron is warming his hands over this.
It's not a ham-faced coward. Oh, do. Anyway, although...
Tell us what you think, David.
Wouldn't be the worst pork reference in relating to David Cameron.
Well, exactly.
Oh, yeah!
No, that image is just horrible.
All right. Right, so not quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing now. So, I've got...
Super migrant.
Not yet. It's not super migrant just yet. Does anyone remember this from Holly Willoughby?
Right. Deep breath. Firstly, are you okay? I hope so.
Remember, it's in my stand-up set every night.
All right. So Gregg Wallace appears to have had a very similar moment.
Are you feeling well? Are you feeling energised and healthy? Because if you're like me and you're over 50, the chances are you have put a huge amount of effort into your job.
In fact, he's found himself a new job within 24 hours of being sacked by the BBC.
What you need is a guide, somebody to show you, someone who's done it. I coach people one-to-one. I help them get fitter and stronger as we get older.
Gregg Wallace has decided that he's going to become a life coach. But it doesn't end there. According to the Times, Gregg Wallace's autism means that he can't wear underwear. Sources close to the ex-MasterChef presenter claim that he has hypersensitivity to tight clothing and his condition is partly to blame for his inappropriate behaviour.
You'll get a car under Motability.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not you're wearing underwear. No one knows unless you take your pants off.
The thing is, this is on a level with Prince Andrew not sweating. I mean, it's
getting very
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he denies the allegations, but why do we need to... Would you employ him as a life coach?
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't. No. It's horrible, isn't it? The inevitability of the grift that follows this kind of public humiliation now. No, I can't see anything in his behaviour or his career record to this point that would lead me to think that I would like to learn the secrets of his rise and, even avoid the fall.
I've just never heard anyone blame...
I suppose what he's looked at...
autism for essentially getting their lad out.
He's looked at Thomas Skinner, though, hasn't he? He's looked at Thomas Skinner and the Bosch phenomenon and the cheeky chappy, the market stall trader charisma. And he's thought, I can slot in just behind that. I suspect that's what he's thought. Because Skinner is a bit of a...
Potentially a phrase he's used before. He denies all allegations. Coming up. Well, it's time for super migrants. What do I mean? Stay tuned.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A very good evening to you. Temperatures rising over the next few days. Another heat wave for a large part of the country. Strong July sunshine thanks to this strong area of high pressure. There is a weather front just draped over northern Scotland that will continue to bring some cloud and patchy rain here through the night and for tomorrow. But most places under the influence of high pressure will be dry. Light winds may turn a bit misty in a few spots, particularly around western coast, and it will be quite a warm night, especially so in the southeast and East Anglia, 16-17 to start the day on Thursday. Should be a lot of sunshine across England and Wales tomorrow, more so than today, although parts of the west will start a little drab and a little misty, probably starting fairly cloudy too for Northern Ireland. Good chunk of central, southern and eastern Scotland also having a sunny day tomorrow. But on the west coast, a grey starts. Likely to be some rain and drizzle at times here too. For Northern Ireland, maybe a bit of drizzle at times along the north coast, but generally it will be a fine day. Some sunny spells coming through in Belfast and lots of sunshine for England and Wales. These western coasts likely to start with some mist and low cloud, and that may take a while to shift because the winds are so light, but certainly many inland areas having a lot of sunshine tomorrow. and it will be hot sunshine as well. Temperatures higher than today's values, likely to get over 30 degrees somewhere across the southeast and many places into the mid-20s at least, and it's starting to turn warmer still across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. Friday's a similar story. The threat of thicker cloud and drizzle at times over the northern and the western Isles, threat of some mist and low cloud around coasts, Irish Sea coast, perhaps North Sea coast too, but for most it's hot and sunny on Friday, and temperatures ticking up even further, more widely up into the high 20s, and a few more places likely to exceed 30 degrees. May well get hotter for the weekend.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the late edition. Just going to get stuck straight into the front page of the Daily Express. Fury at junior doctors' strike. Many people will know the details. They got a 22% pay rise. They want a 29% pay rise. Will they ever be forgiven if they strike, Jonathan Gullis?
They shouldn't be forgiven. This is Labour getting a taste of its own medicine when you just cave instantly when they first came into power and gave well above inflation-busting pay rises. And clearly, the BMA have got a sniff that they can come back for more.
This could be Labour getting a taste of their own medicine, essentially, here, with constant strikes, the unions going to war with them all the time.
Yes, absolutely. And they've been running on the fumes of This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay for a number of years, which created a great deal of sympathy for junior doctors as they were then known. But there comes a point when that sympathy will run out, and when people have elderly parents who are unable to get appointments, they will quickly decide which side they're on.
Yeah. Or they realise that some of the people who've been leading the BMA junior doctors out on strike are actually very, very wealthy themselves.
Pay boost so they can pay the wealth tax.
Yeah, well, of course. Nina, quickly, sympathy for junior doctors?
I'm with West Streeting on this. I was all for anybody having the right to strike. The inflation-busting pay rise is what they actually deserved last year, because in real terms what they're earning doesn't even relate to what they were earning 15 years ago, and all of that. But I feel that the BMA is too far because there's too many younger doctors who do not have the same philanthropic attitude.
Yes.
It's not a vocation for them. It's a career move, and Australia's got better weather. So
yeah, which is pathetic. If you want to get a suntan, then I'm sorry, you are just going to have to leave Britain ultimately. But anyway, right. So here's a news story for you. Who knew that Superman is a migrant?
Like, we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant.
Surely he can't be right, can he? Well, it appears there was a boatload of Supermen coming across the English Channel there. I'm joined now by Christian Toto, podcast host of the Hollywood in Toto podcast. Thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. So that guy, for our viewers and listeners, just explain who he was and why he was talking about Superman being a migrant, please.
Yeah, that was Sean Gunn, the brother of James Gunn. James Gunn is the director and writer of the new Superman movie. And, of course, Sean Gunn has a part in the film, but he's speaking on behalf of his brother's project. And he's inflaming the culture wars with every sentence he said. And he's actually echoing what brother James said as well. In a recent interview with the Times of London, James Gunn said that this is a political story. He said that Superman is an immigrant, and really just dug deep into the whole controversy where none existed. He basically kind of created it out of whole cloth. And I don't think that's the brightest move when your movie's about to open. And I think it's going to get a lot of people to say, yeah, I think I might skip this movie.
It's not why Hollywood is doing quite badly, why films like that potentially could do quite badly, because instead of just making a great Superman film, you end up having to talk about the fact that actually it's representative of him being a migrant, whereas it's just Superman, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, listen, you let the movie speak for itself. It's very anticipated. People enjoy this character on the big screen. They're hoping it's as good as some of the earlier incarnations. And to bring this up at the 11th hour is really a head scratcher. Now, you could have some theories whether the movie's not very good and he's doing some defense, or he could say, well, he wants to rally the press in America around him, and by going woke and getting this whole conversation going, they'll defend the film. I just don't know. I don't know what he's thinking.
There is another option, which is, of course, that he's a weapons-grade idiot. But anyway, thank you very much. Sorry it's short and sweet, but tremendous to have you. I hope to talk to you again very soon. Christian Toto, their podcast host of the Hollywood in Toto podcast. Now, I do think that part of the problem would be that if every single migrant was like Superman, worked 2 jobs, saved the world, happened to be quite a handsome chap as well, I think, then really we wouldn't have a problem, would we? But they're not.
No, Superman has been retooled for various generations over the years, but I think this is the least convincing one yet by a long way. I remember going to the Superman movie, the big one, you know, Christopher Reeve, it was about 78, something like that, coming out of the movie, you know, like, You'll Believe a Man Can Fly. It was about, like, a suspension of disbelief. It was not politicised. But I found actually slightly more disturbing was not the migrant thing, and I think Superman was genuinely a refugee from a planet that literally exploded. I mean, that is a justified exit strategy in that. So you can't say he's an economic migrant. I mean, I would give him that much at least. But the other thing he said was that this is a movie about kindness. Well, Superman is not a movie about kindness. Superman is a movie about throwing villains through walls. That's what you want to see. You want to see the absolute triumph of steel.
This is just ridiculous Hollywood guff, Jonathan, isn't it?
Well, we saw what happened when Snow White and Rachel Zegler, who's now desperately reinventing her career in the West End. And
doing brilliantly, doing fantastic.
And I'm sure doing fantastic, but still destroyed a perfectly good franchise and brand in the process.
She didn't do it.
Before doing it by wokeifying the hell out of that movie.
And put a load of dwarves out of work as well.
And put a load of dwarves out of work. I mean, it's outrageous.
It's true, it is. I had a dwarf on this show, and he said he was fuming, this dwarf. He was absolutely fuming, the dwarf. He said that he couldn't get jobs anymore, couldn't get work anymore, because they thought it was politically incorrect they thought it was like they're taking the mick out of dwarves. And he was a dwarf, he said, I wanted the job.
Do you know the frustration is, Patrick? When I go to the cinema, and I love going to the cinema, I like to go to the cinema because I don't look at my phone and I get to spend 2 hours in disbelief in a magical world and actually just see something that is totally unreal, but just allows me to just totally switch off. I don't want to be lectured and moralised by directors and actors who, quite frankly, are happy to take millions of pounds of money and then try and lecture us from the comfort of their Hollywood homes. If you want migrants, fill your own houses in Hollywood with them. All the lefties in London as well, fill your house with them, because Stoke-on-Trent's had a bloody enough of them.
Right, OK. All right. We are going to have to... Do you want to say something very quickly about this?
About Superman or the migrant?
Superman.
Superman. Well, the thing is, I heard it's got terrible reviews anyway.
Right, fair enough.
But on the other hand, you're not getting lectured when you're actually in the cinema, so you can watch it. But the thing is, you're right. He is an alien Superman, and if anybody's actually been an incomer into a situation, then it's
an illegal alien, as they would say in America.
Well, if you've been an incomer into any society, it's people's fear of the unknown, and that is just repugnant. And if we catastrophise,
Clark Kent was a good migrant. They talk about the myth of the good migrant, but he was a good migrant. Right. He behaved himself, got a job at the local newspaper, and he blended in, didn't he?
All right. Look, when we come back,
didn't bring his weird kryptonite religions with him, did he?
OK. See you walking around the school. Right, OK. So, anyway, when we come back, we've got a big exclusive on the Bayeux Tapestry. Stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, largely sunny skies across the Mediterranean. It is a little bit breezy in parts of Greece. And Turkey over the next couple of days, but still lots of blue sky to be had here. Small chance of a shower in Croatia, but mostly they're staying away to the north and east. Small chance of a shower across Catalonia as well, but most of Spain dry and sunny. Bit of an onshore breeze bringing some cloud to the coasts of Portugal, and fine and sunny in the Canaries. Continued risk of a shower too in Barcelona into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Now it's time for a GB News exclusive. It's the tail end of President Macron's state visit. And there's been a very exciting announcement.
The run-up to the 1000th anniversary of the birth of William the Conqueror. France will loan the United Kingdom the Bayeux Tapestry.
Well, we here at GB News can exclusively reveal that a brand new, never-before-seen part of the tapestry will be returning. And here it is. It brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it? It's got a boatload of illegals there. Emmanuel Macron steering that boat. Keir Starmer there desperately trying to stop the boat, but Emmanuel will not be deterred. Will you all be rushing to see it? There you go. I see, Jonathan, do you like that? That's a bit of the Bayeux Tapestry no one's ever seen before. Let's leave it on.
I'm gone, Patrick. It sums up the situation, doesn't it? And I know Nina wants to talk about this. So I'm going to defect to Nina because I've taken time. So Nina can use this chance to tell us why just 50 blokes being back a week is a good thing.
I'm not a very good at arithmetic or maths, but even I can work out that 50 migrants a week is 200 a month. 2 months is 400 migrants, and 3 months is 600. That is more than the Rwanda scheme could possibly take. There
That's
are only
also what we get in one day.
There are only 300 Rwanda hotels. So once you'd taken your 300, that was the end of it. So everybody lauded that as the most brilliant scheme on earth.
Well, no.
This is actually delivering back more people.
Smugglers
Am I wrong?
Smugglers will love
this. Am I wrong?
You are a bit wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Well, you are a bit wrong, Ina, because we're going to take in more than we're sending away.
No, that's not...
It is true. It's not a one-in-one-out deal.
It takes 8 years to clear the backlog from Keir Starmer's 2025.
The point of Rwanda, to be fair, the point of the Rwanda scheme, with whether or not it was ever workable, but the point of the Rwanda scheme was to be a really, vivid deterrent that word would get around that if you crossed the channel to England, before you knew it, you'd be in Rwanda.
Yes, but after
Whereas in this deal, before you know it, you're back in France. So what? And have another pop.
The thing is about the Rwanda deal. Once you'd taken the first plane load over, it was no more of a deterrent.
I get that. But the point is that this deal apparently with Macron.
Can we not celebrate the Bayeux Tapestry?
Right,
I mean, surely that's the main story.
Sorry, yeah. Bring the Bayeux Tapestry. I forgot what we were doing there. We got signed to
generations of school children. It's somewhat tragic in my mind that generations of school children were told that the Bayeux Tapestry was this extraordinary artefact, that, living history. And we probably have the first generation of school children now in our island story who couldn't give a monkeys about it.
I've been to see it. Have you been to see it?
Yes, I've seen it.
You've not been to see it. You look like a man who's made repeated trips to the Bayeux Tapestry.
No, I go and see Grayson Perry's tapestries.
I've seen the Bayeux Tapestry in Bayeux, and it's wonderful. But there wasn't a debate recently about there was an extra male appendage that they'd counted.
All right.
We don't know this story?
Well, I don't go around counting.
Was it like an autist who couldn't wear underwear?
Yes, exactly.
Was it Gregg Wallace?
Exactly, the Gregg Wallace.
William's autistic Archies.
Yeah, sorry, my Archie had autism, so he couldn't wear his boxer shorts.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry, if you're just joining us, that's because Gregg Wallace, a source close to Gregg Wallace, who denies any and all allegations, has claimed that because he's autistic, he couldn't wear underwear, which obviously led to some issues. Anyway, so do you think this is good that we're getting a bit of the Bayeux Tapestry?
Well, his hands across the ocean, isn't it? It's all nice to see. I thought it was quite amusing. I think it was Lisa Nandy said that the Bayeux Tapestry was a reminder of our rich history as two countries. I was like, they invaded us. This was it's a nice historical artefact, but it was not a great moment of accordions or whatever, concord.
They inherited us and became our ancestors. So
not really. No, funnily enough, they didn't. The Norman bloodline remained tiny. This comes up quite often where we have these discussions about the amount of immigration since 1965 that is more than the entire history of the island beforehand. The Normans kept themselves to themselves very much.
I was upset when the
You may be one, I don't know. But
we weren't raising taxes for war in France to reclaim ancestral land.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm just going to do a re-whiz of the papers very quickly. So start with The Independent. The Independent gone streeting. Doctors strike for 29% rise will break the NHS. The Daily Telegraph, they have gone off on the benefits scandal. Loads of people on benefits, more on benefits than if you were. The Eye, they have got Labour will target the rich but won't call it a wealth tax. The Sun, a kick in the goals. France taking back migrants, but not that many. And, of course, the ex-Tory chief, Sir Jake Berry, defecting to reform. The Mirror, astonishing bravery of Southport children. Deeply moving story, this. Parents and girls who survived the Southport attack. Right. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to my wonderful panel. And I do hope that you feel enriched by whatever the heck it is we've just served up. If you're watching us in the morning, breakfast will be on shortly. Stay tuned.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A very good evening to you. Temperatures rising over the next few days. Another heat wave for a large part of the country. Strong July sunshine thanks to this strong area of high pressure. There is a weather front just draped over northern Scotland that will continue to bring some cloud and patchy rain here through the night and for tomorrow. But most places under the influence of high pressure will be dry. Light winds may turn a bit misty in a few spots, particularly around western coast, and it will be quite a warm night, especially so in the southeast and East Anglia. 16-17 to start the day on Thursday. Should be a lot of sunshine across England and Wales tomorrow, more so than today, although parts of the west will start a little drab and a little misty, probably starting fairly cloudy too for Northern Ireland. Good chunk of central, southern and eastern Scotland also having a sunny day tomorrow. But on the west coast, a grey starts. Likely to be some rain and drizzle at times here too. For Northern Ireland, maybe a bit of drizzle at times along the north coast, but generally it will be a fine day. Some sunny spells coming through in Belfast and lots of sunshine for England and Wales. These western coasts likely to start with some mist and low cloud, and that may take a while to shift because the winds are so light, but certainly many inland areas having a lot of sunshine tomorrow. And it will be hot sunshine as well. Temperatures higher than today's values, likely to get over 30 degrees somewhere across the southeast and many places into the mid-20s at least. And it's starting to turn warmer still across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. Friday's a similar story. The threat of thicker cloud and drizzle at times over the northern and the western Isles. Threat of some mist and low cloud around coasts, Irish Sea coast, perhaps North Sea coast too. But for most, it's hot and sunny on Friday, and temperatures ticking up even further, more widely up into the high 20s, and a few more places likely to exceed 30 degrees. May well get hotter for the weekend.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one